When a man puts his money into the market, he thinks he's there to make a profit. But what he doesn't realize is that before the market pays him a cent, it will test him his patience, his nerve, and his ability to do absolutely nothing when every instinct screams at him to act. That, right there, is the discipline. No one talks about the discipline that grows 10,000 into 500,000 and keeps it there. Most traders believe success in the market comes from predicting where prices will go next. They study charts, listen to news, chase tips, and try to outguess everyone else. But the truth is, you don't make money by predicting you make it, by waiting for the market to confirm what you already know deep inside, that you were right. You make money by being patient enough to sit tight when the trade is right, and brave enough to cut loose when it's wrong. I learned this the hard way, not once, but a dozen times. Every fortune I made began with discipline, and every fortune I lost began with pride. When I was young, I'd rush into trades because I couldn't bear to miss the move. I thought activity meant progress, but I was wrong. The market doesn't pay for effort. It pays for results. It rewards the man who can master himself, not the one who moves first. Let me tell you something few people want to hear. The stock market is not a place for excitement. It's a place for consistency. Excitement is what gamblers seek. Traders, real traders, seek clarity. They look for clean movements, obvious breaks, clear patterns of accumulation or distribution. They wait for the tape to confirm what the crowd refuses to see. And then, when it's time, they act decisively and hold without trembling when everyone else starts to doubt. Growing 10,000 into 500,000 isn't about finding the perfect strategy. It's about having the emotional endurance to stick with a winning one. I've seen more traders lose money because they couldn't hold a winner than those who chased losers. The crowd gets nervous when they see profits. Their instinct is to take the small win quickly, fearing it will vanish. But in doing so, they kill the very momentum that could have made them wealthy. It takes courage to let a profit run, courage and conviction, because when you're sitting on a big winner, the market will tempt you. It will shake, retrace, and whisper that it's time to sell. The untrained trader listens. The disciplined trader waits. That's the difference between pocket change and a fortune. The best trades are rarely comfortable. When you buy right, the market doesn't instantly move in your favor. It hesitates, tests, and shakes out the weak. It's designed to do that. The crowd is always wrong at the turning point because they follow emotion, not logic. They crave validation, not truth. So when the market turns, they cling to their biases. The disciplined trader does the opposite. He listens to the market, not his ego. I remember sitting in my office during one of my big campaigns. The stock was moving exactly as I had anticipated, but the press, the brokers, and even my friends were convinced it was topping out. They told me to take profits. They said, "Don't be greedy." But greed wasn't the issue. Discipline was. I stayed in the position because my plan hadn't changed. The market hadn't given me a reason to sell. That one decision multiplied my capital several times over. That's what discipline is, not reacting to noise, not doubting your process every time the wind changes direction. Discipline is doing what you said you'd do long after the emotion that made you say it has faded. Most traders lose money not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack consistency. They change their approach every time they take a loss. They let pain rewrite their strategy. But pain is a teacher, not a command. You don't abandon your system because it hurts. You refine it. Every loss holds a lesson if you have the humility to see it. Now let's talk about the part of trading no one likes to discuss: losing. Losses are inevitable. You cannot trade and win all the time. The man who says he never loses is a liar or a fool. The real professional isn't the one who avoids losses. He's the one who manages them so they never destroy him. When you risk too much, fear becomes your trading partner. Fear distorts judgment. It makes you close trades too early or hold losers too long. That's why position sizing is the backbone of discipline. Every trade must be small enough to survive being wrong, because survival is the first rule of compounding. If you can stay in the game long enough, the market will eventually pay you. But if you blow up chasing a single big win, you'll never see that payday. The disciplined trader trades like a sniper, not a soldier in a frenzy. One shot, one opportunity, well placed and well protected. There's a saying that the market is never wrong, but opinions often are. That's true. The market tells you everything you need to know if you can quiet your ego long enough to listen. The price action is the voice of truth. And when it contradicts your opinion, the disciplined man obeys the tape, not his pride. I've seen traders hold on to losing positions for months because they couldn't admit they were wrong. They call it patience, but it's really denial. Real patience belongs to winners. Denial belongs to losers. When you're wrong, admit it quickly and move on. Protect your capital like your life depends on it, because in this business, it does. Growing 10,000 into 500,000 is not about doubling your money overnight. It's about compounding it over time with precision and restraint. Each trade should serve the larger purpose of capital preservation and growth. The disciplined trader doesn't chase every move he waits for, the high-probability setups where risk is minimal and reward is disproportionate. That's how fortunes are made, not in a flurry of trades, but in a handful of great ones, executed with perfect discipline. And here's the secret most people overlook. The market punishes those who need money. If you come into the market desperate to make profits, it will sense it and take your money faster than you can blink. But if you approach it with patience and control, treating every position as a calculated step rather than a gamble, the market begins to reward you. Because discipline attracts success. You must treat trading as a business. Every decision must have logic. Every risk must have a reason. Hope is not a strategy, and luck is not a plan. When I traded, I recorded every trade, the reason I entered, the signal I saw, the reason I exited. Over time, those records taught me more about myself than any book ever could. I learned that my greatest enemy wasn't the market, but my own emotions. Greed and fear are the twin devils of trading. Greed whispers that you can make more if you just stay a little longer. Fear screams that you'll lose everything if you don't get out now. Both voices are wrong. The disciplined trader learns to silence them. He follows rules, not emotions. Every great move in the market begins quietly. The crowd doesn't see it because they're too busy following yesterday's trend. But the disciplined trader studies the tape and senses accumulation, silent buying before the storm. That's where opportunity lives, not in the noise, but in the quiet corners where only the patient are looking. When the move finally starts, the crowd rushes in, late as always. They buy what you bought weeks ago. They make you rich by confirming what you already knew. Then, when the time comes to sell, you don't wait for headlines. You sell into their excitement. That's discipline to exit when everyone else is entering. There's an old rule I lived by. Never average down. When you're wrong, take the loss and move on. The market doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care that you believe in the stock. It only cares about the direction of money. Adding to a loser is emotional suicide disguised as strategy. The disciplined trader never argues with the tape. I've watched countless traders lose fortunes because they couldn't bear the thought of being wrong. But being wrong is part of the game. Staying wrong is what kills you. When a trade goes against you, accept it like a man who understands the business he's in. Cut the loss, clear your mind, and wait for the next opportunity. The traders who survive, the ones who grow 10,000 into 500,000, are those who respect the market's lessons. They don't trade every day. They wait for alignment, the price action, the volume, the sentiment. When everything lines up, they move in without hesitation. And once they're in, they trust their plan. Discipline also means knowing when not to trade. There are days when the market is simply not clear. The tape doesn't speak. When that happens, do nothing. The best trade you can make sometimes is no trade at all. Let others burn their capital chasing noise. You conserve yours for clarity. Over the years, I learned that money flows to the trader who can sit tight both in winning and losing. Sit tight on your winners, sit tight on your hands when there's nothing to do. That's how compounding happens. You're not paid by the hour in this business. You're paid for your patience. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's boring, repetitive, and lonely. But it's the only thing that works. When everyone else is chasing trends and trying to predict the future, you're quietly following your plan, managing risk, protecting capital, and waiting for the next real opportunity. That's how you build wealth that lasts. If I could leave you with one truth, it's this. Trading is a mirror. It reflects who you are. If you're reckless, it will expose you. If you're greedy, it will punish you. But if you're disciplined, truly disciplined, it will reward you beyond measure. So take your 10,000 and treat it like a seed. Don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. Plant it with intention, water it with discipline, and protect it from the storms of emotion and noise. Over time, it will multiply, not because of luck, but because you respected the principles that govern this game: patience, precision, and self-control. The market doesn't owe you anything. It gives nothing to the impulsive and everything to the prepared. Be the trader who waits for the perfect shot. Be the trader who acts with clarity, not fear. Be the trader who can sit tight when it matters most. That's how 10,000 becomes 500,000. That's the discipline no one talks about.